You are told that working summer jobs teaches teenagers responsibility and work ethic. What if I told you that rich kids avoid jobs entirely? This sounds logical because employment develops character and provides valuable real-world experience. But something's wrong when wealthy teenagers get better career outcomes without working. Most parenting advice emphasizes the importance of teaching children about earning money responsibly. Why do poor teenagers work minimum wage jobs while rich teenagers get internships? Summer employment appears valuable because working teaches discipline and financial responsibility to young people. But what if the job versus internship divide creates completely different futures? Think about your own teenage summer experiences and whether you work jobs. Did summer employment advance your career or just provide immediate spending money? The summer opportunity trap operates by convincing poor families that any work builds character. If you want to understand why wealthy teenagers avoid employment while building superior networks, subscribe to Prof. Jiang Explained and share this with someone whose teenager works retail. They need to see why unpaid internships beat paid jobs for advancement. The system creates different relationships with work depending on your family's approach. When we say teenage employment, we mean different experiences based on necessity versus strategy. For poor teenagers, summer work means earning money through minimum wage service jobs. They work retail, food service, or manual labor to contribute to household expenses. They measure success through immediate earnings and learning basic workplace skills and responsibility. For wealthy teenagers, summer work means building networks through unpaid internships or family connections. They work at law firms, investment banks, or nonprofit organizations, gaining experience. They measure success through career advancement and relationship building rather than immediate compensation. Think about whether teenage work should prioritize immediate money or future career building. Consider the difference between earning wages versus gaining professional experience through connections. This explains how different approaches to teenage employment affect long-term career trajectories significantly. The difference isn't about work ethic versus laziness, but different relationships with opportunity. But here's where it gets interesting about teenage employment and class privilege mechanisms. The trap doesn't just waste time on low-skill jobs instead of career development. It actually prevents poor teenagers from accessing the networks that create career opportunities. When poor teenagers work minimum wage jobs, they develop workplace skills, but gain access. This creates what economists call network deprivation, where valuable connections remain completely inaccessible. Meanwhile, wealthy teenagers build relationships with professionals through internship programs and family networks. Consider how your teenage work connections affected your career development over time effectively. The summer opportunity trap becomes sophisticated when examining how it handles skill development. Minimum wage jobs typically provide basic workplace skills rather than career-specific expertise or knowledge. This skill limitation prevents poor teenagers from developing specialized capabilities that employers value. The basic skill focus creates what educators call competency ceiling rather than advancement foundation. Poor teenagers learn customer service and time management without industry expertise development. Meanwhile, wealthy teenagers gain specialized knowledge through professional internship experiences and mentorship opportunities. Do you remember learning transferable skills versus industry-specific knowledge during teenage employment experiences? What type of work experience actually advanced your professional development most effectively? The summer opportunity trap exploits what behavioral economists call immediate gratification bias in employment decisions. Poor teenagers focus on earning money immediately rather than investing time in development. More immediate income feels better than uncertain future benefits from unpaid experiences. This short-term focus prevents poor teenagers from recognizing that unpaid internships often provide benefits. Choosing immediate wages over long-term career building feels rational when families need money. Meanwhile, wealthy teenagers can afford unpaid experiences because families provide financial support during development. The summer opportunity trap creates what psychologists call opportunity hoarding, where wealthy families accumulate advantages. Wealthy teenagers access internships through family connections and social networks rather than merit. This hoarding prevents other qualified candidates from accessing the same development opportunities effectively. Network hoarding also prevents poor teenagers from competing fairly for advancement opportunities. Meanwhile, wealthy teenagers enter college and careers with established professional relationships and experience. They understand workplace cultures and professional expectations through early exposure and mentorship. The summer opportunity trap creates geographic constraints that limit poor teenagers to local opportunities. Poor teenagers typically work near home because transportation and housing costs prevent travel. This geographic limitation restricts access to internships in major cities or specialized industries. Geographic barriers become problematic when valuable opportunities exist in locations that poor teenagers cannot afford. They remain limited to local retail and service jobs rather than accessing development. Meanwhile, wealthy teenagers can afford transportation and housing for prestigious internships anywhere. But something more sophisticated happens with teenage employment and social capital development patterns. The trap doesn't just prevent access to professional networks through employment limitations. It creates different relationships with authority and professional environments that affect career advancement. Poor teenagers learn to view supervisors as authority figures who must be obeyed completely. This workplace relationship training prepares them for employee roles rather than leadership positions. The authority relationship also prevents learning how to negotiate or advocate for advancement. Meanwhile, wealthy teenagers learn to view supervisors as mentors and potential network connections. They can ask questions, seek advice, and build relationships rather than just following orders. This networking approach provides career advantages and professional development opportunities throughout their careers. The summer opportunity trap handles what economists call credential substitution in career development processes. Poor teenagers rely on employment history and academic credentials to demonstrate value to employers. This credential focus prevents recognition that network connections often matter more than qualifications. Credential thinking also prevents poor teenagers from understanding how professional advancement actually works practically. Meanwhile, wealthy teenagers learn that relationships and recommendations often outweigh formal qualifications. They can leverage connections for opportunities regardless of academic or employment performance levels. The summer opportunity trap also exploits what psychologists call aspiration management in career development expectations. Poor teenagers are encouraged to view retail and service jobs as stepping stones. This aspiration framework prevents recognition that these jobs rarely lead to professional careers. Managed aspirations also prevent poor teenagers from pursuing internships that seem unrealistic or inaccessible. Meanwhile, wealthy teenagers are encouraged to pursue ambitious internship opportunities regardless of apparent qualifications. They understand that family connections can create access to seemingly impossible opportunities. But there's something even more sophisticated happening with teenage employment and industry exposure patterns. The trap doesn't just limit poor teenagers to basic service work instead of development. It prevents exposure to high-value industries and professional environments that create understanding. Poor teenagers work in retail, food service, and manual labor without exposure to finance. This industry limitation prevents understanding how business actually operates and creates wealth. The exposure also prevents recognition of career opportunities in high-value professional fields. Meanwhile, wealthy teenagers gain exposure to law, finance, consulting, and other professional industries. They understand how these industries operate and create value through direct experience. This industry knowledge provides significant advantages when choosing college majors and career directions. The summer opportunity trap creates what economists call experience inequality, where different populations receive training. Poor teenagers develop customer service and basic workplace skills through minimum wage employment. Wealthy teenagers develop professional communication and industry knowledge through internship programs and mentorship. Experience differences also create what sociologists call cultural capital gaps in professional environments later. Poor teenagers enter college and careers without understanding professional norms and expectations. Meanwhile, wealthy teenagers understand workplace cultures and communication styles through early professional exposure. The summer opportunity trap addresses what behavioral economists call investment horizon differences in development strategies. Poor teenagers cannot afford long-term investment strategies that don't provide immediate returns. Wealthy teenagers can invest time in unpaid experiences because families provide financial support. Investment thinking also affects how teenagers approach skill development and career planning over time. Poor teenagers focus on immediate employability rather than long-term career trajectory optimization. Meanwhile, wealthy teenagers can focus on strategic development that maximizes future opportunities and advancement. But perhaps most insidious involves how teenage employment affects college admissions and scholarship opportunities. Poor teenagers who work minimum wage jobs often struggle academically because employment consumes time. This academic impact prevents college opportunities and scholarship eligibility that require high performance. Teenage employment also creates what educators call time poverty, where academic performance suffers significantly. Poor teenagers cannot participate in extracurricular activities or maintain high grades while working. Meanwhile, wealthy teenagers can focus entirely on academic and extracurricular achievement without employment obligations. The summer opportunity trap creates employment necessity, where poor teenagers cannot choose optimal development strategies. This necessity prevents strategic thinking about career development and long-term advancement opportunities effectively. Employment becomes survival rather than investment in future professional success and advancement. Meanwhile, wealthy teenagers can choose experiences based on career optimization rather than financial necessity. They can pursue unpaid internships, volunteer work, or academic programs that maximize development. This choice freedom provides significant advantages in college admissions and career preparation. The summer opportunity trap works by providing immediate financial satisfaction through employment while preventing development. It allows poor teenagers to feel productive and responsible while limiting access to opportunities. The system provides short-term benefits while creating long-term career disadvantages and limitations. Poor teenagers experience satisfaction through earning money while losing access to professional networks effectively. Meanwhile, actual career advancement requires strategic development through connections and professional experience rather than employment. The trap perpetuates because poor teenagers who succeed through work often had advantages. They become advocates for teenage employment while overlooking network development paths that work. The successful examples obscure teenagers who advance through different approaches to development and opportunity. And remarkably, the summer opportunity trap has convinced people that paid work beats development. When examining career outcomes, reveals that unpaid internships often provide better advancement. Poor teenagers need strategic development rather than immediate employment for professional success. The summer opportunity trap represents effective mechanisms for converting teenage work into career limitations. It transforms employment into immediate satisfaction without requiring strategic professional development or advancement. Understanding this trap doesn't mean avoiding all teenage employment, but recognizing strategic development. It means prioritizing long-term career building while managing immediate financial needs through family support. If you want analysis of how employment systems create class advantages rather than merit, subscribe to Prof. Zhang Explained. Share this with someone whose teenager works retail jobs rather than building networks. They need understanding why unpaid internships provide better career advancement than minimum wage employment. The summer opportunity trap also creates what economists call compensation illusion in teenage development. Poor teenagers believe earning immediate wages represents success and productive activity during summers. This compensation focus prevents recognition that unpaid experiences often provide much greater value. The wage illusion also prevents poor teenagers from calculating long-term opportunity costs effectively. Meanwhile, wealthy teenagers understand that short-term financial sacrifice often generates superior returns. They can evaluate experiences based on career advancement rather than immediate financial compensation. Consider how immediate wage earning compared to long-term professional development in your experience. Did teenage employment wages provide lasting value or just temporary financial satisfaction? The summer opportunity trap exploits what psychologists call status confusion in work evaluation patterns. Poor teenagers derive status from employment and earning money through their own efforts. This status framework prevents recognition that professional internships often provide superior social positioning. Employment status also prevents poor teenagers from understanding how professional hierarchies actually operate effectively. Meanwhile, wealthy teenagers learn to derive status from access and connections rather than employment. They understand that network position often matters more than individual productivity or achievement. The summer opportunity trap creates what sociologists call peer group isolation in development experiences. Poor teenagers work alongside other teenagers in service jobs without professional mentorship. This peer isolation prevents exposure to adult professional environments and career guidance opportunities. Group dynamics also prevent poor teenagers from learning professional communication and workplace norms. Meanwhile, wealthy teenagers work alongside professionals who provide mentorship and career guidance naturally. They can observe professional behavior and receive direct advice about advancement strategies. But there's something even more sophisticated about how teenage employment affects college and scholarship opportunities. Poor teenagers who work often cannot participate in expensive summer programs or activities. This participation limitation prevents access to experiences that colleges value for admissions decisions. Summer employment also creates what educators call resume competition disadvantage, where activities matter more. Poor teenagers have employment history while wealthy teenagers have internships and volunteer experiences. College admissions typically value unpaid service over paid employment when evaluating applications. The employment necessity also prevents poor teenagers from taking expensive test preparation courses. Meanwhile, wealthy teenagers can focus summertime on SAT preparation and college visits. This academic focus provides significant advantages in standardized testing and college admission success. The summer opportunity trap also exploits what behavioral economists call time allocation optimization failures. Poor teenagers allocate summer time to immediate income generation rather than strategic development. This allocation prevents maximizing long-term career value through strategic planning and professional development. Time thinking also prevents poor teenagers from understanding how successful professionals actually develop careers. Meanwhile, wealthy teenagers learn to allocate time based on strategic value rather than immediate. They can invest time in relationships and experiences that compound over decades. The summer opportunity trap addresses what psychologists call aspiration calibration, where expectations get managed downward. Poor teenagers learn to expect service work and basic employment rather than professional opportunities. This calibration prevents pursuing opportunities that seem unrealistic but might be accessible. Expectation management also prevents poor teenagers from developing confidence necessary for professional advancement later. Meanwhile, wealthy teenagers learn to expect access to high-level opportunities regardless of qualifications. They develop confidence through early exposure to professional environments and successful networking. But perhaps most devastating involves how teenage employment affects family economic dynamics and relationships. Poor teenagers often contribute earnings to household expenses rather than saving for development. This family contribution prevents capital accumulation necessary for future investment and opportunities. Employment contribution also creates family dependency where teenagers become economic necessities rather than investments. Meanwhile, wealthy families invest in teenager development without requiring financial contribution to household. They can support unpaid internships and expensive development programs without financial hardship. The summer opportunity trap creates what economists call skill mismatch, where employment develops irrelevant capabilities. Poor teenagers develop customer service and retail skills that don't transfer to professional careers. This skill development prevents advancement in high-value industries and professional environments. Meanwhile, wealthy teenagers develop professional skills through internships that directly advance career prospects. They learn industry-specific knowledge and professional communication that provides immediate value. This skill alignment creates significant advantages when entering college and professional environments. The summer opportunity trap also creates what sociologists call cultural capital deficits in professional development. Poor teenagers never learn professional dress codes, communication styles, or workplace expectations through employment. This cultural knowledge prevents successful navigation of professional environments later in careers. Cultural preparation also prevents poor teenagers from understanding how to present themselves professionally during interviews. Meanwhile, wealthy teenagers learn professional presentation through internship experiences and family guidance. They understand how to communicate competence and fit within professional cultures effectively. But there's something more sophisticated about how the summer opportunity trap handles networking development. Poor teenagers work in environments where networking opportunities are limited to other service workers. This network limitation prevents access to professionals who can provide career guidance and opportunities. Service environment networking also prevents poor teenagers from learning how professional relationships actually develop. Meanwhile, wealthy teenagers learn networking skills through internship environments and family connections. They can observe and practice professional relationship building in appropriate contexts. The summer opportunity trap addresses what economists call investment return optimization, where wealthy families maximize development. Rich families can afford to support unpaid internships because they understand returns. This investment thinking creates systematic advantages that compound over time through strategic development. Return optimization also affects how families approach college preparation and career development strategies. Poor families focus on immediate needs while wealthy families focus on long-term advancement. This temporal difference creates divergent outcomes despite similar initial effort levels and capabilities. The summer opportunity trap also exploits what psychologists call opportunity recognition, where different experiences create awareness. Poor teenagers never see professional career opportunities because employment environments don't expose them. This recognition limitation prevents pursuit of careers that might be accessible and rewarding. Exposure differences also prevent poor teenagers from understanding how various professional industries operate effectively. Meanwhile, wealthy teenagers gain exposure to multiple professional environments through connections and internships. They can make informed career choices based on direct experience rather than assumptions. But perhaps the most insidious aspect involves how the summer opportunity trap affects entrepreneurial development. Poor teenagers learn employee mindsets through service work rather than business ownership thinking. This employee orientation prevents recognition of business opportunities and entrepreneurial development possibilities. Understanding this trap doesn't mean avoiding all teenage employment, but recognizing strategic value. It means prioritizing professional development when possible, while managing immediate financial needs strategically. If you want analysis of how employment systems create class advantages rather than merit, subscribe to Prof. Jung Explained. Share this with someone whose teenager works retail jobs rather than building networks. They need understanding why unpaid internships provide better career advancement than minimum wage employment,